the next few days. Let me know what your thinking is, and it has to do with forming a group, support group, like what we do here, around spirituality. And I know that word can scare people off a lot, but when I use it in a very generic sense, and that is talking about, I think everybody, whether they admit it or not, has a spiritual side. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're very religious in nature, but that you do have a spiritual side. And I've got two guys that have expressed extreme interest in putting together a group around that issue. For me, I think it would be great personally. I know that I oftentimes take away from some of our meetings, some of the spiritual aspects of those meetings that are very, very beneficial as I try to keep myself healthy, and I'm sure for others that's true too. But in any event, think about the concept a little bit, and if you have any ideas, please let me know, and we're trying to form that up in the next few weeks. I'm not sure where we'll do it or how frequently. I'm guessing something like once a month, maybe down in the Venice area, maybe South Sarasota, not sure. But in any case, the other thing I wanted to mention was that last Saturday we did our monthly. Wait a minute, let me mute some. If you're not on mute, if you don't mind, would you put yourself on mute, just so we don't get echoing in the background? And then as you get to, if you want to ask a question, then unmute yourself. That would be great. So the other thing I wanted to mention is Saturday we do our, every third Saturday we do a PSA screening event. And we normally get half a dozen or less guys to attend, but it's all very important for us to do it. This particular last Saturday we tied in with an event going on at the Ringling Museum, and we ended up with 20 to 25 men take the PSA requirement, PSA screening. It's such an important part of the deal as we go forward with this disease. So that was very encouraging, and we hope to do more of those events where we can connect with a bigger event like a fair or a health fair or whatever. So those are just two quick announcements I wanted to make. And now Nora Clemens is here with us, and she is quite knowledgeable, to say the least, about all things dietary and health oriented. So I'm going to let her take over. We've got an outline of a piece of paper that I can stick in an email to all of you that aren't here, but I'll let her go ahead and talk a little bit about nutrition, how it affects all of our lives, particularly around prostate issues. Nora.
Okay, thank you. May I have that mouse, please?
You may, you're in control.
Wow. Thank you so much. So thanks for coming, everyone, live. Thanks for coming virtually. Yeah, let's see if we can, oh, that was easy. Easy. Slideshow. Beginning. How do we go backwards? Oh. And show. All right. That's how we do it. All right, that was amazing that I did that. Technology isn't all my thing.
Without my guidance.
I know, without me going, help. All right, so yeah, thanks for having me again, David. I really, I'm just passionate about nutrition because it impacts all of us. We all have to eat, and what we eat really impacts our health. And we're definitely going to focus on nutrition. I wanted to have a particular slant for today's talk that I think is going to be, super helpful for prevention and just for where we are. And so I'm excited about the slant for today. So with that, I just want to tell you real quick, I am a registered dietitian and nutritionist for over 40 years. Decades, okay? Decades. And for the last 13 years, I've been in private practice in Sarasota, moved from the East Coast, all the way from the East Coast of Florida. And so yeah, I'm in private practice. I don't have an office. This is as much of me live as you'll see. If we work together, it's going to be on Zoom. but it works for most people. But my main area of practice is gut health, because no matter what's going on with people, a lot of people experience gut health. And regardless of what your health issues are, if your gut is not healthy, then the rest of you cannot get healthy. So I love that I bring getting the gut healthy to whatever it is that people are dealing with, so that they can be completely healthy. So with that, I just want to kind of leave it there. We'll get started. But look, today, the title of the talk is The Ounce of Prevention, nutrition. And I really think that, gosh, I love old sayings, and nutrition is definitely a place where we can have more than an ounce of prevention. So, can diet really prevent cancer? I say yes. The studies say yes. And, why is it that people are getting so much cancer? And that is because we are exposed to way too many toxins, okay? Now, we have detoxifying organs, our liver, our kidneys, our lungs, and our skin, okay? And when we were made at the beginning of time, we were capable and have been capable of detoxifying any exposure through all those methods. However, modern times, now food and environment has really upped the toxins. And so let's talk about that today. What happens when we clog up our detoxifying systems and we actually open the door, to cancer, and are not able to be preventative to cancer because we're not detoxifying well. And let's talk about how we can reduce exposure. But we're not going to talk about food, but we're going to talk about all these things because it is impactful for all of us here, okay? So, how do toxins really cause cancer? I'm going to read right off the slide. Our DNA, which is kind of like the template, on that really cellular level, toxins actually change the DNA, so it puts the gas pedal to accelerate cell growth. So that is one way that toxins can cause cancer. Toxins cause inflammation. Inflammation does the same thing, promotes cell acceleration. Toxins suppress our immune system. So we have an amazing immune system, but when we're all bogged down with toxins, they block the road for the immune system to do all of their connection points. So we're not able to identify it. In many cases, get to that thing that is, the immune system needs to be attacking. Yeah, so our immune system is impacted. Cell signaling, okay? All kinds of processes. And actually, toxins can actually help to promote the development of new blood vessels to nourish, growing cancer cells. So this is general tip of the iceberg. We have to know that at every turn, toxins are what we are, thinking, how can we minimize it? So to that point, how can we reduce? So the first thing I want to talk about is water, We all have to drink water, all should be drinking water. And so when possible, we should be drinking filtered water. I wish that the municipalities had the technology or even the know-how or the infrastructure to properly filter out everything that is in water, but the reality is they do not, okay?
So that it doesn't matter if you take the water out of the bottle and drink it in a glass, it's still the same.
It is still the same. Say for example, if you took, bottled water that you bought and you put it into a glass, that water has been sitting in the, couple of things, the water industry is not regulated. Nobody is going around testing bottles of water to see what they're allowing into it. So just know that. It is not regulated, number one. And then number two, we do know about, come on in, microplastics. The whole idea of, getting more plastics into our body is not a good one. And so, there we go. There's some reasons right there why not drinking out of, plastic bottles is not as good of an idea as drinking filtered water. And I wish I could say that the refrigerator water filter is enough. It's a little good. It does not get rid of medications that get down into our aquifer. You know, people are flushing things down the toilet. You know, you name it, it all comes into our water, you know, viruses and so forth. So we could do a world of good, and I don't represent AquaTrue, but people always say, well, what's a good brand? I thought I'd just throw one out. This type of company is an example of a company that makes all different kinds of water filters, whether they're countertop or, you know, under the counter. But suffice it to say, we could reduce our exposure to toxins if we drank filtered water. So,
Now, when you say filtered water, do you mean going through like a micro mesh or assimilating with the charcoal?
Hey Siri, turn off transparency.
pardon?
Say that again? We heard somebody from the,
Peanut gallery?
From beyond, yeah, so
Yes.
the kind of filterization that you're recommending is probably more than single fold.
Right. So I don't know, you know, a lot about them, but, you know,
They're expensive.
they are, but they are at different price points for different households. So you can start like where you can, and then kind of do what you can. We're all gonna do what we can. Like everything on this list is not for everybody. But you know what? I am educating you on how you can prioritize for you what you can do, and that's all we can do. So.
Like a simple British system or something like that.
And it's simple is the word.
Yeah.
It's going to take a few things out. It doesn't compare to the charcoal filters, like I don't even know all the verbiage, but charcoal filters and some other filters. They're usually like a multi-filter system. And even the countertops are internally properly designed so that they're good. They might be countertop, but they do like the same thing as the under the counter.
Like Brita, right?
No, Brita is not an example. Brita is an example of a better than nothing type thing. It's like a little bit improvement, but it is not at the level of what this gentleman was saying. You know, all the charcoal filter, and they have multiple filters. Yeah,
And boiling water does not necessarily do that.
correct. Now, it might kill some things, you know,
Live thing.
fires, yeah, live things. But yeah, but we want to get rid of toxins, you know, medications, stuff that's down in that water that we're getting because our municipalities just are not set. I don't want to be critical of them. They're doing what they can. They're doing what they have been set up to do, kind of like our bodies. We weren't set up for all this exposure, right? But here we are. So we're all kind of doing the best that we can. We ourselves, you're just educating yourself today and learning that I'm giving you like the top things. Filtered water, it's at some rate would be extremely helpful to reduce toxins.
what about glass bottles? Glass as opposed to plastic?
Oh, absolutely. So like, for example, if you have a water filtration system and you put it into a glass, or they make glass bottles with like rubber on the outside to protect them, or that stainless steel, all that's good.
Yeah.
But you definitely don't want to refill your good, you know, take a plastic bottle and put your filtered water into it, because now you're putting it into a plastic container.
Just defeating the purpose.
What about taking the plastic bottle and filtering it through an aqua filter?
You know, I mean, I think that you would be taking stuff out. You know, I mean, if you had a countertop and you put it in there, it would filter out, you know.
So that would be helpful.
Yes. Cool. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but I mean, it's dedication, and I think everybody should do what's best for them. Yeah, if you felt like you wanted to buy water and then put it in your countertop, that would be good. This is
Question?
good conversation.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
You know, I'm on mute, David, so Zoom has some issues, I guess, because it says I'm on mute. But anyway, have you ever checked, Nora, the Aquasana filter system? It's fairly cheap, and it seems to be of good quality when I look at the stats on the, you know, the filtration power of it.
I have not looked at Aquasonic. I learned about AquaTrue a while back, and you know, a lot of the trainings that I do, a lot of the podcasts that I listen to, I don't know why, but these guys must run in the same circles, but I keep seeing this one kind of come up as a good one. I just wanted to bring something to the table. Aquasonic might be good. What I would do is take a look at AquaTrue, just so you can kind of get a feel for like what all their filtration components are. And then you'll have like an idea, look at Aquasonic and say, oh, it seems to be similar or not. So yeah, that's what I would do.
Hmm.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I'm sure that-
Actually, David, I think I figured it out. You have to tell people to mute their phone on the actual phone part of the app, so to speak. There's a separate area, but on the Zoom app itself, it says I'm muted, even though you're hearing me. So I'm going to mute myself on the phone now.
Oh, you're on the phone, okay.
Well, yeah. I'm saying if you use the phone and you're using the app on the phone, you have to actually mute the phone, not
Right.
only the app. That's the point. But thank you for answering the question. Yeah, it's Aquasana with an A at the end, and I've used it for years. It's about $60 every 6 months, for one filter. If you have a big family or something, you might have to replace it more often. I don't know, but you have to ask the company about that. But I'm pretty happy.
that's within range, $60 to $100 a year could be theoretically filter replacement cost for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's.
but if it works, it works.
There you go. Yeah. All right, so we covered one important thing.
May I
Yes.
interrupt one more time?
Yes.
The canned seltzer, cans are not good either.
Well, the cans themselves are not as much the primary concern as much as what's inside. So if it's just seltzer, I don't know the answer because I've not really researched it, but I would imagine that, that's fine. It's a good question. I don't know the answer.
I should think that they would put it through a filtering system, you would hope.
Oh, no, you would think. But remember this. Manufacturers are not looking out after our best interest and our health. They're looking out for their bottom line. They're going to do what industry requires them to do, no more, no less, because they want to make profit. So under no circumstances should we assume the better. We should assume that they're not really looking out for us. But I would say, generally speaking, we can all have a can of seltzer water. I wouldn't recommend a person, and I have known people like this, it's like, nope, I don't like water, I only drink seltzer water. Carbonation, that much carbonation is just not good for us, our digestive system. That would be a bad idea. But an occasional or one a day should be totally fine. Yeah.
I find that I mix a salsa with the green tea that I make, so I kind of like.
See, I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
And green tea is terrific, so love it.
Are those machines, can you take them from one house to the other after you purchase them?
The ones that are countertop, absolutely. The ones that are installed underneath, not so
Oh,
much.
okay.
Yeah. But that is the whole idea, is a lot of these companies make all different styles.
Thank you.
Which is good, you're welcome. Yeah, so moving away from water is, the whole consideration about organic, right? It's controversial, but, I will tell you myself that I read and I read and I read reports from, what I think are solid sources, and to reduce exposure to pesticides, I follow the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 guide, which you have today. So, the Environmental Working Group, they test foods every year, and their top high pesticide fruits and vegetables, those are the ones of the Dirty Dozen. So, if we have the disposable income, we should buy those in organic. For example,
Oh, yeah.
berries and greens, leafy greens, spinach and berries. Even if we could just say, if we eat those often, buy those organic. You're investing in
Do that.
not having the top of the pesticide chain in your body every day. So we're just really doing things that we can do that makes sense for us. So that's a really good list to help us know how to spend our money on organic food. Now, the Clean 15, I don't know why, but when they test them, the pesticide count is lower. So, we're not, I don't bother to buy those in the organic version, but I do pay attention to the Dirty Dozen.
You're thinking these pesticides are in the, on the outside of the fruit or within the
Inside.
composition of what they're watering it with and what their
Yes.
soil they're using, the fertilizers and things like that?
Right,
So rinsing them off doesn't necessarily,
correct. Although I recommend rinsing because,
yeah,
like bacteria, viruses, we want to clean stuff that's been in the ground if we can. Yeah, I think that's smart.
When you think of pesticides, you usually think of applications, it's on the leaves, it's come from above and stuff like that. You don't consider that it's in the soil, it's on a cellular level, it's actually coming into the food structure itself.
You don't think about that, but thank goodness for the Environmental Working Group. They are not for profit. They take no money from any, company. They're all, that's a good group if ever anybody wants to donate, Environmental Working Group. Anyway, from people like us that are happy that they're doing these things, and they're always examining things for us. They have a, personal product list, like how to choose better personal products. They have an app that you can scan things. The Environmental Working Group is terrific for us. So I really want to give them kudos for putting out the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 for us every year.
What about the vegetable wash that they sell that you can spray?
Yeah, you can, or you can just, I used to do vinegar and stuff, and then it's like, I don't have time for this. I'm a busy person. So you know what? Strawberries, I don't do this. And I don't even buy fresh strawberries very often. I buy frozen, to be honest. So most everything, I just get my little sponge, clean it really up, put some fresh soap in it, soap and water, yeah. Yeah, just to get whatever's on the surface off. Yeah, and mushrooms, I do eat mushrooms. I've got a little mushroom brush, I get the dirt off of that. They're delicate, so strawberries and mushrooms, kind of tough to really get clean. So yeah, I wouldn't spend my money on vegetable wash. Too much.
We eat a lot of vegetables like spinaches and stuff especially, and it's always said it's like, triple washed and
Yes.
ready to eat. You don't know if you can
Yes.
trust that or not. I'm
Yes.
assuming that you can, but,
So,
who knows?
If you want to know what the dietitian does, I trust him, because I don't quadruple wash my greens.
Right.
I'm like, so far so good.
Yeah.
When you say something is organic, what does that actually mean? It doesn't-
Oh,
no pesticides?
Great question. The question is, if something says it's organic, so a company can only, or a farm can only sell organic, strawberries
Right.
if they have been certified by the USDA Organic Program, which means that they have inspectors come on site and double, triple check that they're not putting pesticides on their produce. That the farming practices fall within the organic category, which is.
That would include the soil too, probably.
Yes. All of that is it's really expensive. And to that point, I bet that there are a lot of farmers that don't use pesticides, but, they can't afford, or they don't want to pay for these, certifications. So I know that there are a lot of farmers out there that, maybe don't use pesticides. But at the end of the day, when it comes to things like strawberries and spinach, as you were mentioning, those are ones that, I would just caution you and, try to. And, it's heartbreaking because here where we live, I go to Detweiler's, as I'm sure most of you do, and, during berry season, Detweiler's has all these amazing berries out there, and I'm just looking at them, they're so gorgeous, but, they're not organic, and just for me, I just make that choice. I don't buy the non-organic berries. I just don't, because they're on the Dirty Dozen list, and I do what I have to do.
are these labeled as such? These items, they are, aren't they?
Always, right?
Yeah.
They would be labeled by the grocer.
The USDA label
Yeah.
of some sort.
There's a seal and everything.
Tell the prices
And the prices, that's why we have to be judicious about how we spend our organic dollars. And then, use the clean 15 to balance that off a little bit. Yeah.
You walk down the aisle looking for the price first. You say, okay, that must be good.
That's like outrageous, it must be good. Oh, yeah, yeah. All right, so where else could we consider putting our, money on things that are in the organic category? And that would be the egg, chicken, beef, and fish category, and here is why. If a chicken is organic, that farmer has to buy feed which is certified organic feed. Like, in other words, that feed doesn't have fertilizer and pesticide stuff on it. It's clean. And that's another component. But there's all that. So the feed of the animal is going to be free of pesticides. And then also, if they are organic, the way that they care for them in terms of the health of the animal, with hormones and all that. Now, naturally, I know that there's a period of time that, they can administer antibiotics, but after which time they can't before, the slaughter. Anyway, there's all these nuances around those things. But we don't want hormones, and we really don't want the animal to have been eating feed that isn't organic, because then now that animal will, in their meat, have those same pesticides. So we're eating the pesticides that they ate, basically. That's the idea. So that's a tough punt right here. The meat category, to buy organic and wild caught and grass-fed, that just means that we eat a whole lot less beef, because grass-fed beef is very expensive. And so we only eat a lot of chicken, and hopefully we're eating some salmon and a lot of fish. Go to Detweiler's and get like the best fish ever, because those are really the two kind of proteins that is probably the best for us.
They say that chicken is probably the highest hormone content meat that we consume, because it's constantly in their diet, and they're trying to battle all these viruses and this and that. So they do, and they're trying to plump them up. They're trying to make the chicken bigger. They're trying to do that, and in doing that, they introduce these hormones.
Yes.
And then in doing that, they also, I read a study about how women who eat non-organic chicken reach puberty earlier than people who are on organic diets, based on the fact that they're getting introduced this imbalance of hormones at a large rate, and it's actually affecting the whole maturation process. So it's like pretty scary stuff.
It's very, very true, very unfortunate. So again, this is education. We all do what we can, because our food budget is our food budget. But we can start establishing our lifestyle so that we create priorities about what's important and what we can do. These are the things that we can do when we are able.
There's a big difference between organic chicken and non-organic chicken. Just in the texture of it.
Yes.
You can tell a non-organic, chicken, they're puffed, they're expanded, and they're huge. I mean, I've seen packages of like just chicken thighs that look like a whole chicken.
That's,
Yeah,
non-organic is very puffy.
Right. And like if you can go to Publix and you pull their chicken tenders off, when you bite into a chicken tender, it's got a consistency that's, it's not like meat. If you have an organic chicken, it's more, like the meat, there's striations, in the meat, and you can actually see the, big difference in the, texture of the meat. So it's very easy to find, organic type of chicken as opposed to non-organic, inorganic chicken.
Inorganic. It's available. And yes, it's so true. And just real quick, because I get this all the time, rotisserie chicken from Publix, Costco's, and Sam's, everybody's favorite. Why? Because it's cheap, it's amazing, it's done, we don't have to cook it, but one guess about how it gets so yummylicious. How do you think they get it to be so amazing?
And bigger than that, and bigger than.
And bigger. Any guesses?
They marinate it.
Not only do they marinate it, they inject it. So all these companies, Publix included, inject their chicken. So they're plump, they're delicious. I mean, and I've read the ingredients. I mean, it's chemicals, basically, and sodium. So if you're trying to be on a low sodium diet, just want to be cautious. I do know, and I don't support Whole Foods at all. I rarely go there. Nothing against them, but it's also whole wallet. Whole Foods does not inject their rotisserie chicken. Okay, so, yeah, so anyway, it's an option. You know, it's not terrible for a convenience item every once in a while. When I was in there and I looked one day, I'm like, oh, it was surprising. So,
What about Sprouts?
Sprouts also injects their chicken, and I looked into it, and I was a little disappointed, because I wanted to get their chicken. Yeah. Anyway, last but not least, a good way to know what are better fish options, I can just tell you right off the bat. Salmon, sardines, you know, top
I don't
choice.
like sardines.
I know, and that is so unfortunate, because they like you. They're so full of calcium, omega-3 fatty acids. So if anybody in this room likes sardines, you know, you can get them in olive oil, have them once a week, at least for lunch or dinner. Yeah. I mean, I do shop at Trader Joe's. I go to Detweiler's, that's about it. I send my husband to Publix, I'm like, you go to Publix. Anyway, but the salmon and the sardines are really top choices. But fish like tuna and shark, they are deep water fish, known notoriously to be high in mercury. So we want to be careful. You know, it's a shame that opening up a can of tuna, which I did a lot for many years, it's so good, and it's fish, and it's easy, and it's inexpensive. But we just have to be mindful, because if we eat tuna a lot, we will get a higher mercury level in our blood. And I know, because I do a lot of testing for my patients, and so I test myself, and my mercury was high. And I was eating tuna like 3 times a week, because I could just open up a can. And then I did go out for sushi, and I would have tuna sushi at least once a week. So I had to like cut myself off, and my mercury. See, my body detoxified when I removed the exposure. And that's my point. You can do it. You can detoxify, you can get rid of stuff. We're just learning today what are our entry points for toxin exposure, minimize it, and then your body will detoxify. And that will help to protect us. That's what we're doing with food.
I'm trying to think of the difference between farm-raised salmon, which is very prevalent, and wild-caught salmon. I mean, you see these red salmons that, you know, and you're not sure if they've been colored, if they're, you know, what, you know, how come they're all the exact same color? I mean, you know, it's like kind of weird, you know, in that, and then you read that they're farm-raised, and you don't know if the farm-raised ones are farm-raised in open water, if they're farm-raised, because you see a lot of, there are farms that are contained, and then there are farms that just exist in an ocean. So it's hard to sort of determine.
Very hard. You know, again, Detweilers, I really give them a lot of credit. First of all, they're honest and ethical. So all I do is I talk to whoever's in charge of the seafood department, and whoever's the top guy back there, and if he's not in, then they get me somebody else. Because I identify myself, I'm like, no, I need to know this. I need to know this. Anyway, and they see me there all the time. But they will tell you if their farm-raised fish is from one of those open pens, you know, where they just eat shellfish and whatever else is there, whatever. Or if it's more like the farm-raised where they're throwing in whatever kind of feed. So,
Big pools versus an open ocean farm.
Right.
Two different kinds of.
yes, so anyway, I give them kudos. I'm not saying they're perfect, but their prices are right and they have quality food for us. All right, so let's keep going. Here's just 3 little tips of other things. I mean, this is a little mind-blowing, and I'm sorry if I'm just like being a little bit of a party pooper here, but I'm here to help you. Our country allows, the USDA allows the high use of weed killer on our grains, wheat being a crop that it is laden, like if they did the dirty dozen for grains, wheat would be at the top. So when we are eating, say, Arnold's or Pepperidge Farm, good brands, they're not organic, 100% whole wheat. That 100% whole wheat, good bread, is high in weed killer. So we just need to know this. We don't have to like it, we just need to know it. And you know it now. Not everybody knows this. So as you have disposable income, take a look at Dave's Killer Bread, because Dave's Killer Bread is organic. The brand, Dave's Killer Bread, Jerry's looking at me like,
Oh,
did
really?
she
I know,
say
my wife gets that.
Dave's
Really?
Killer Bread? They make buns, they make, I think
Where
bagel,
do you get that?
Publix,
Oh,
right on the shelf.
or how about Walmart?
Oh, yeah, probably.
We get
Probably.
I'm going to conference.
Is that something you can tell by the ingredient description, whether it's has phosphate or secondary?
Okay, so the answer is, if it is organic US wheat, it will not have glyphosate because organic crops cannot be, have weed killer put on it. That's part of the checklist for organic. So,
Pepperidge Farm label versus,
organic is your word. If Pepperidge Farm made an organic wheat product, that particular bread would not have glyphosate. But compared to their non-organic, that one would.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how you decide.
is your PowerPoint available to us?
Yes, I can email it to you. Yeah, I'll email it.
Yeah.
Right, the way
Did
it,
you, I'm sorry, did you ever hear of Ezekiel bread?
Yes, Ezekiel bread is good, it's all organic.
What's it
And
called? Ezekiel?
Ezekiel. It's in the freezer section because it's got no preservatives, so they, freeze it. And it's like a whole grain, I love it even more because it's all whole grain, nuts and seeds. So it's really like top shelf,
That's what I get.
perfect.
I love that stuff.
It's
They
good
have
for you.
different kinds, they have like this sesame
I
seed,
know.
and they have,
The multi-grains and.
yeah, and then the other one with the little, not grapes, the raisin bread.
Right, oh yeah.
Yeah, they got
So,
some good
yeah, that is a top shelf, so Dave's Killer Bread on the aisle, and then Ezekiel and the frozen are two. Good. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yay!
I've been making my own bread lately. I've been making like a banana bread that I've been using. And I won't use regular flour, I'll use an almond flour instead. And I find it bakes better, it makes for a better bread, and it doesn't have any glutens in it, which is also pretty good. And I found that we use it a lot in most of our flour needs. Whenever we need flour, we've been using this almond flour, and it's
That is terrific.
Really
I
good.
have a point later on that, of why we should eat less flour, our favorite thing. Like, we love our carbs, we love our bread, but anything that we can do to reduce carbohydrates and flour in particular is good for our metabolic health, is good for reducing inflammation, and really, you want to have a robust body to fight against things incoming.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, we talked about glyphosate being weed killer that is present in American wheat products. Unless it's organic, then there is none. You can buy Italian pasta, or Italian bread, or Italian crackers, or baked goods, crackers and pasta from another country, and they have no glyphosate because we're the only industrialized country that allows glyphosate in our farming. But, New Zealand, Australia, the European Union, Mexico doesn't allow it. So we're, anyway, so now we know. Number 2, rice, like lots of cultures love rice. I love rice, I grew up on rice. But rice absorbs arsenic from the ground, which is naturally existing, 10 times more than other grains do. So rice is very high in arsenic, and if you're a big rice eater, and that's okay, you're gonna get arsenic toxicity. We don't want heavy metal toxicity, okay? And when I do testing, I find this. So this is not like a thing that is not really a thing. It is a thing. So you want to rinse your rice until that, the water that runs off is clear. And then you also want to parboil it, which means boil it for 5 minutes and then just dump that water off. And then you can just put like a little bit of water back in and finish cooking it. 70% of the arsenic goes away. So you can really, by rinsing it and parboiling it, you can get rid of a lot of arsenic in rice. So these are big top hitters of reducing exposure to heavy metals.
Question?
Question.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I just had a question. In regard to organic white rice, for example, though, that should be okay, shouldn't it?
No, because the arsenic is naturally existing in the
It's
ground
still going to be,
all
okay.
over the world. Yeah, and it has an affiliation for absorbing it. It's just the grain just sucks it up. So it's got nothing to do with any addition, but it's our way of getting rid of what's in it. Great question. And then lastly, we already talked about tuna and shark, being a source of mercury. All right, and we really already talked about water. So we're good. So reducing exposure to our toxins, we want to eat whole foods, not from Whole Foods, but whole foods are just basically the original foods, fresh meats, Look, fresh vegetables are good and fruit, but you can have frozen and canned. I have nothing against those. Those are still nutritious, and I'd rather see everybody eating canned and frozen vegetables than to eat no vegetables, or the people that go with good intentions and buy all these fresh vegetables, and then they go, oh, I didn't get around to cooking them, and then now we're throwing them away, right? That's waste. So buy 1 or 2 fresh vegetables, have the rest in the freezer, a couple of cans in the pantry, and eat your vegetables, but don't waste your vegetables. All right, whole grains, of course, things that are not processed, and healthy fats. Yeah, easy. Now, ultra-processed foods, that is a whole category of food. I think we all know what this is, but I've got a better list. But it's everything that's, manufacturers have put into a bag or a box somehow. And we know that they're high in calories, sugar, and unhealthy fats and sodium, but they're also void of nutrients. So we really want to be careful because toxins come in, no nutrients, and yet we're full and happy. And these foods are addictive. When we start eating them, like Cheetos, like what more processed food could there be than Cheetos? But Cheetos, it's like, once you get it in your mouth, it's like you gotta keep eating and eating. So all these foods are very addictive.
How about moderation? Because I love barbecue chips.
No, I get it, but the thing about chips, I will say, it's a potato. It's not I don't know what Cheeto is exactly. So I want to give you that. And it's got barbecue flavor.
Popcorn?
Popcorn is a grain of corn.
Okay, I'm doing
Yay.
good. I'm doing good.
So like the worst thing in the world, like potato chips is not the most ultra-processed food. A Cheeto would be an ultra-processed
Gotcha,
food.
I got it, okay.
Kind of like a puff made out of a few chemicals and some colorings
Yeah.
A lot of
and a lot of
colors.
salt.
A lot of colors
And a lot of-
that
yeah.
don't occur naturally in
They
nature.
don't occur naturally in nature, right? Not even a carrot's that color. All right, so we get that. And, this is like the short list, shall we say. Yeah, and when we look at this list, again, we're not looking at perfection. We just want to get ourselves away from habits of having regular things like this. If we're kind of hooked on soft drinks, that's not the first thing that you could just pray to your spiritual higher power and say, please help me get off of this. But it's hard because it's very addictive. So that's one of the worst things we could be doing is any beverage that has sugar is poison. You are inviting all kind of inflammation and anything else to befall you. So, yeah, and when I say convenience meals, sometimes, look, frozen vegetables are fine and frozen fruits are fine. But it's got all the other ingredients. Sweetened cereals, I just want to say, our societies, look, we're all like close to the same age. young people a bit.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, but, you know, like, we've all eaten cereal our whole lives, and it's comfort food. And they've been marketed to be good. Here's an example, Raisin Bran. Raisin Bran has 4 teaspoons of sugar in it, okay? And that's because of the added sugar to make it taste delicious. It's bran, but it's got a ton of sugar. So should we be eating a bowl of Raisin Bran? Probably not. I can't think of any dry cereal that is a good option. Yeah, and Cheerios, don't eat Cheerios. General Mills has been busted twice for allowing 200% the amount of weed killer, of glyphosate, that it should have. Yeah, and so twice, I mean, who knows, I mean, when do you shut down General Mills? I guess you don't. But anyway, tell your children to not to give it to your grandchildren, because we're all giving babies Cheerios.
Puffed rice is good.
And what's that?
Puffed rice.
Puff rice, there you go. There you go. Or even oatmeal.
Another one, how about protein bars?
But that is a slippery slope. That's like a dark hole of a lot of like ingredients. Okay, here's a protein bar that has decent ingredients. RX bar, because it's got almonds, egg whites, nuts, and dates.
I love those.
All right, so you just heard 4 whole foods. They puree it, put it into a bar. I mean, you have to like chewy texture, you have to like but I mean, it's got a little bit of protein, all natural. But most protein bars, read your label,
Yeah.
loaded.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you know, on these convenience meals and packaged food, what I do is, like, I take a look at, you know, the immediate contents of sugar and whatnot, but then I look at the ingredients.
Ingredients, thank you. So
And
that is
The
fantastic.
fewest ingredients, the
Right.
best.
And
right?
if you detect chemicals and things like that, that's what we're talking about. Like, sometimes the list is long, but they're good ingredients, but that's rare. Most of the time, it's, you know, other things.
I have a question for you. You brought up oatmeal, but you also said that wheat has the glyphosate, or
Yes.
glyphosate.
Yeah,
How do you reconcile that? You know, it's like, I like the whole oats, you
Yes.
know, with the Quaker
Yes.
whole oats. And how do I know that I don't have it's not organic?
glyphosate and oats. Yes, so I did not put this on here, and I should have, but I will verbally say it. And I did research this, just to be clear. And organic oatmeal, no glyphosate. Non-organic oatmeal will have glyphosate. So I mean, unfortunately, oats, it's a grain. In the US, it's free range. USDA allows it. Wheat and oats may have weed killer pesticide utilized to keep the pest down. So,
No, what kind of supplements are healthy for our use in detoxifying? Like, you know, when we want to increase the efficiency of our liver and kidney and our internal organs. And because these are the things that are going to battle it, things that, you know,
sure.
our gut health and stuff like this. There's got to be supplements and things that are directed toward anti-cancer and or for prostate health for this room in particular,
Right.
addressing this room and things of that nature. Can you talk about that before our time is up?
Yeah, no, I will not talk about supplements today, unfortunately, and particularly, I did not want to go down the path of talking about supplements for detoxification, because what I really want to do is not have anybody run out and buy these supplements, because I have no idea if they're good for you or you. It might be good for you, but it might not be good for you. So it's very dangerous, and so I don't want to talk about that for that reason, for the caution of the group, okay? But what I will say is that if you eat the rainbow of plants, and if you get proper protein, right, and you are reducing exposure to toxins, your own body will detoxify. I'm going to give you encouragement that it will. So, you know, so the antioxidants that live in all those plants those are our detoxifiers. But you have to have proper protein, and I always talk about protein. Like if you're not getting enough protein, we're doing ourselves a disservice. We have to maintain our lean body mass. Protein is the building block of every enzyme, every immune system, every liver cell that does our detoxification. So don't cheat yourself on protein. Be heavy-handed. Protein in vegetables, protein in healthy fats and vegetables, and a little bit of fruit is where we want to do to really get our detox system going.
When you touched on gut health before, were you thinking also in terms of like probiotics and things of that nature?
Yeah, again, probiotics are not for everybody, especially with the work that I do. Sometimes people take them and they feel terrible. And because, they have other stuff going on where it's not a good mix. And there's so many different probiotics on the market that, again, they're out there just selling stuff, making money on us. And then we're thinking, oh, I should take this. But yeah, no, I just don't like carte blanche put everybody. I hardly put people on probiotics. I occasionally will, and there's certain types when I know what's going on with them, then I put them on probiotics. You know what I do? Fiber. I'll say, try to eat as much plant-based fiber as your body will allow, because when we eat fiber, we're feeding the beneficial bacteria that live in our colon, and that is the way to make our beneficial bacteria colonies grow, not necessarily by taking a capsule with the organisms, popping it in there and go, okay, I took my pill, and so now I've got my beneficial bacteria down there. No, that's the backwards way. That's like, okay, I'm going to teach this man how to fish so that he can fish for himself rather than giving him a fish. Taking a probiotic is like giving the man the fish and not teaching him how to fish. You're going to eat fiber, you're going to feed your beneficial bacteria, and then you're going to have a robust, microbiome.
Well, there are certain medications that kill these.
True.
If you're on medication, especially
Yes.
some of the strong medications that our
Yeah.
cancer groups are exposed to,
Yeah.
that's really depleting your biotics in your system. So you have to supplement them.
I agree.
In that.
It's a therapeutic time, yeah. But you know what, same thing, like there's so many ones out there, that would be like its own talk, which I love. But yes, like there's so many different options. And depending on if you're having constipation or diarrhea, there's like, take this one for this, or take that one for that. So yeah, it's hard to like carte blanche give people recommendations on it.
I don't see pomegranates.
Yeah, the pomegranates are, they didn't make the list. You know what I don't like about EWG anymore? Is back when they first started doing this, obviously not all fruits and vegetables are on here, they would then have like up to food number 52 of the other ones that don't come up on here, and then they would stack them according to the highest to the lowest. So I don't know why they do that.
And the reason why I'm
Yeah.
questioning that,
Because you eat those.
the urologist who was treating cancer suggested to take a glass of pomegranate juice.
I think you should, especially
And
if
for
it's,
some odd reason, and in addition, he said to eat walnuts.
okay. Yeah.
What are 3 good sources of natural fiber that you recommend?
The top one is beans. Beans are the highest per capita of high fiber, and we'll get the next thing is, whole grains, which would be, wheat or quinoa or brown rice, grains that have not had their external part taken off. Those usually have a good bit of fiber. And then in the fruit and vegetable kingdom, there's things like raspberries that have, for a cup, almost like 10 grams of fiber. So, fruits and vegetables are loaded with fiber, whole grains, and then beans, number one.
So kale's on your dirty dozen. So kale.
Yeah, so kale, it would be one that you would want to buy organic kale if you can.
It's only kale smoothie, for,
Me too.
that's good there,
Yeah, well, keep having the kale smoothies.
with bananas.
With bananas, yeah, and I don't think bananas are
Of course
dirty.
bananas.
They are not, bananas are not dirty, they're not even clean, but
Yeah.
they've got a peeling, so.
So
Low in
not all
sodium,
here.
right?
No, bananas have no sodium.
No sodium.
They have potassium.
Potassium.
Yeah, I mean, they're high in sugar, but they're really good for us because of the potassium.
Where's psyllium husk? It's all in.
Oh, psyllium husk is a wonderful seed, okay, that is a fiber supplement. So for people that have no gut issues, because psyllium can be rough on people that have gut issues, adding psyllium husk powder to smoothies or to oatmeal really elevates your fiber and is super good for binding cholesterol and
Keeping it regular too.
yeah, and keep it regular. Oh, and keep it regular. You need that. So yeah,
There's not much
What
talk
about
about,
fermented foods?
yeah, fermented foods. All right, that's fine. Fermented foods are foods that have bacteria, right, that are good for us. It's kind of like those probiotics are in that food. So fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, not all pickles. It has to be, not the vinegar pickles, it's fermented pickles. They're really hard to find. Kombucha is another one. So those are foods that if we just eat a little bit of them every day, they help to repopulate our microbiome.
I found a product called Gut Shot,
Oh,
and I drink about this much on a daily basis. I feel
You feel good,
fantastic
yeah.
right after I drink it.
yeah. I mean, it sounds good. I'm sure you read the label and the rest of it's good, but yeah, so
I
good.
get that at Earth Origins. Are you familiar with Earth Origins?
Yeah.
That's what I get.
is it a powder, is it a,
No, it's in a bottle. It's like in a refrigerated section
it's
there.
sort of near the kombucha aisle there?
Yeah, near where the kombucha is. Yeah, like right.
Gut
Yeah.
shot. I love it.
Oh, Gut Shot.
Yeah, if you've got a bad gut, it's hard to tolerate these things, but if you've got a good gut, it sounds like all those things really kind of boost you. And yeah, to your point earlier about, treatment, eradicating your beneficial bacteria, absolutely, and causing, all kinds of digestive issues. But I think that's nuanced, and, if your doctor has a protocol, or if you're working with a nutritionist and they know what you're experiencing, then that's when I give advice, but it's pretty impossible for me to give generic advice.
The biggest product out there nowadays is corn. We didn't make any mention about that, but it's in just about everything that you buy in the stores and stuff like that. It's GMO versus non-GMO. It's just such and we don't really digest it. Corn, it doesn't really, because of the linkages, you don't really digest the corn. It passes right through you. So I don't see the benefit in corn products at all.
Yeah, a comment there about corn. Not totally sure that I can confirm what you said, that we don't digest corn and it goes right through us, with all due respect. I'm just
Well, I
saying.
mean, I just noticed it the day after, so that's what
Well, I'm
that's what I'm
just
thinking. I mean,
saying,
if it's not,
if
if
you-
it's not slowing down, it's coming out the other.
couple of things. When I work with people, I always discover that most everybody doesn't chew their food well. So if you're not chewing corn well, it will absolutely go right through you. But corn as a grain is not like something that we can't digest. If we chew it well, all the inside of the stuff will definitely get digested. But you're right, the outside part is the roughage, so it's the good roughage part. Yeah, and that's okay that it comes out because we can't digest it. But corn products, you're right about that. I do recommend non-GMO corn products when possible, because again, corn is, it's very inexpensive, and so a lot of things are made out of corn,
Lot.
right? And so we can make cheap everything out of corn. And I mean, the jury is out about GMO and if we should be having it. The other thing about corn, because it is a grain, and we're talking about, you know, the glyphosate, if you buy organic corn, it's A, gonna be not GMO, and B, it's not gonna have glyphosate. So I think the way to deal with corn is, when possible, buy organic corn products. Here's an example. I buy frozen corn, I buy at Trader Joe's, they got good price points there too. So that's my corn in my freezer. If I want to have corn chips, I do buy their blue corn tortilla chips. They happen to be organic. They're amazing, like $3 for a bag that big. So all being said, we can kind of pick and choose. Are we going to find organic corn, you know, to buy, to make? No, we're just not. So guess what? I love corn, and my husband loves corn. So every once in a while, I buy corn, and I eat it because I like it, and it's delicious. But I don't eat corn all the time.
And you chew it.
And I chew it, and I chew it. Yeah.
Could I make a comment?
Yes.
Yes.
One thing I would add from my experience with, dealing with patients with IBS is irritable bowel syndrome. That if you are sensitive to roughage, like you are overreactive, your GI tract is overreactive, then you should consider adding organic acacia fiber, which is soluble fiber, and then also balancing the non-soluble fiber, which you would want to lessen and add more, like carrots and apple, which are soluble. So that's a big, because even people who are not particularly, IBS type patients, they can have strong reactions if they eat vegetarian food all day for several days in a row. Suddenly, if somebody comes to visit them and makes them that, they can get thrown into, looseness.
The loose. Yeah, that's very good. The acacia fiber is gentle. It's very good. Most everybody can tolerate that.
It's not that expensive either. You get it from Amazon. Organic.
There you go.
Mm.
Thank you. That's a good
And
one.
the other point that I wanted to throw in is that no one in the room there should ever, or anybody should ever suffer from either constipation or diarrhea. If people are having, most people suffer on the, you hear more about constipation, but it's really completely unnecessary. So whatever you're eating has impact on that, but also things that you may need to add, like magnesium if you're constipated, less magnesium if you're going the other way. You gotta, you shouldn't ever hear that from people. And doctors often don't take care of that issue for patients. They'll just say, they say, I'm a little constipated, and they just go, oh, okay. And they might write it down, but they don't necessarily give you a solution. So just know, if you go to a nutritionist like Nora, I'm sure you can work with patients to straighten them out.
Absolutely.
And so many people suffer from that without, asking about it.
Oh, yeah.
Very common.
No, the food conversation has to be central to everybody's health. I mean, daily is the gold star. If you go more than once, fine too. But yeah, constipation, diarrhea are treatable, solvable problems for sure. Definitely. All right. So, these are some non-food things. I recently listened to a podcast by a toxicologist, and I knew about scented things, but guys, tell your spouses, guys, get rid of the dryer sheets, the scented candles. Those are toxins. Think of our bodies as a bucket, and so you've got layers, and so if we're
Zoom meeting.
clean and, not getting in toxins here, but then over here, we're inhaling them, that is going to start raising our toxic burden. So we just want to do everything in our power, and not exposing ourselves to these things is pretty doable. We can protect ourselves by these things. So these are kind of easier button than the food, I have to say. But please keep that in mind. Another study of many, that eating all these foods that we've, often talked about, but the cruciferous vegetables, the broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts, in the study. It was, 2 a day. Yeah, thanks for coming, Jerry. Yep.
Okay, so,
And then tomatoes, we've all known for prostate cancer, there's something unique about tomatoes, okay, the lycopene. Whole grains, couple whole grains. Notice it's not 4 servings, now we're not being carboholics here. 1 or more servings of beans and legumes, so not surprised to see that fibrous, good food. And then, of course, fruits and vegetables that are all the orange and yellow and red, but also the dark green contain the carotenoids, which is really vitamin A. That's what they're saying, vitamin A rich foods. So love that, I found that recently. This is something else we can do is, manage our metabolic health. And again, doctors they're knowledgeable about what they're knowledgeable about and whatever their training brought to them. But metabolic health is not a thing that they're knowledgeable on, but I am, and I realize that when we keep our blood sugars at a good range, our insulin level, which by the way they don't check, but they should be checking our fasting insulin levels, and our triglycerides, which it's more of an emphasis on cholesterol and LDL cholesterol, but nobody's really talking about triglycerides. Our HDL, our good cholesterol, we should have in a good place. Blood pressure, sometimes I'm mortified that people have high blood pressure, but they treat it with, my blood pressure's a little high. No, no, your blood pressure should not be a little high ever. Get with your doctor, get on a good medication regimen, and check your blood pressure and make sure your blood pressure stays where it needs to be. Adamant. Do you want kidney disease on top of everything else? No, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get kidney disease if your blood pressure stays high. I get phone calls all the time. Oh, I've got stage 3 kidney disease now. Where was stage 1 and 2? I don't know, the doctor never told me. But they have controlled blood pressure. It's a whole rampant thing that's going on in our society. So don't be that person. Keep your blood pressure good.
Is there a low blood pressure? No. Aware, because a lot of times my blood pressure is so low, and it's, a lot, 100.
Right.
And then there's like a 40 or 50 point difference between my diastolic and my systolic, and I ask my health is my pressure too low, but I exercise a lot, and this is sometimes I discover this. I go to the Y, I do a Tai Chi class there, and I'll do my blood pressure right after that, and it's like 95 over 50 or something like that, and I'm like wondering if it's ever too low at that point. I've had it 89 over 45, and I'm wondering, is it too low? I mean, is there something? Is there ever too low?
Right.
And that.
Yeah. I am not going to talk about that in the interest of the group, and we'll have to move on. But
Okay.
I think that for the interest of like general health and metabolic health, low blood pressure will not come into the picture. And but I can talk to you about that later. Yeah, absolutely.
I have a comment on triglycerides and HDL. My cholesterol, triglycerides, and HDL were always a little bit high, not, but they were high. And for years, I had my primary care physician tell me, you wanted to put me on statins. I said, no, I just needed to get myself under control. You know what kicked it into normal levels? Apple cider vinegar.
Okay.
I do 3 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar in a glass of water, about 4 ounces, 6 ounces of water. I drink that every morning. It brought my levels right in normal range within 3 months.
That is fascinating.
And I was amazed at that, yes. Yeah.
Teaspoons is a lot,
It's-
but that's it.
Yeah, I do hear things like that. I mean,
I drink it with lemon water.
3 tablespoons?
yeah, lemon, I had it with lemon.
I'm sorry?
3 tablespoons, you
Yeah.
said?
Teaspoons. Yeah, tablespoons.
let me tell.
That'd be tough,
With
yeah.
glass of water.
That's it.
Yeah, I can't think of,
You could put that on your salad.
right.
You can put it on your salad.
You absolutely
I
could.
prefer,
He wants to get it in and for the
I
day.
drink it in the morning
He
and
wants to
throw
make
them
sure
off
it's
to the
in.
races.
No, it's it stimulates our digestion. I mean, it's good for a whole host of things, and I'm super glad that it was helpful for you.
Yeah, and then I followed up with, I do 2 teaspoons of extra virgin olive oil.
I mean, you can't go wrong with olive oil. You
Yeah.
cannot go wrong, no.
And it's worked wonders for me.
Olive oil it's medicinal, it really is.
Is it good?
Yes, well, as is apple cider vinegar. So all these things here, waist circumference, so, it's just a slide to caution us that inflammation from having poor metabolic health, which is having at least 3 of these things on the list kind of ticked off, needs attention. So have it looked at, I'll help you with it. Have your doctor at least know about it, and because we don't want any inflammation to be at the root cause of your cancer.
One other comment about the apple cider vinegar,
Sure.
it completely took my sugar cravings away.
Oh, that is fabulous.
Completely abstinent. Yeah.
Those are all really good reports. I mean,
Yeah.
through the centuries, apple cider vinegar has been used for so many things. Unfortunately, there's no money in apple cider vinegar studies. I wish there were, so that they could do like good scientific studies to show, okay, let's test it for this, let's test. And then we would know, okay, these are all the things that you could use apple cider vinegar for. But, medicine's not gonna recommend it because there's no studies. There's only your report.
Yeah.
And many others reports. So yeah, keep doing it. So guys, we talked about protein. These are the ways to get it in. Honestly, a lot of guys get a little concerned about soy products. I am on the side of soy is completely fine for you, okay? Organic soy, by the way. Again, because like corn, soy is a GMO product unless you get organic soy. So organic soy is completely fine. But anyway, these are all great ways to get your protein in. Studies are indicating for guys wanting to be cautious with diet and prostate cancer. Fewer eggs, I keep checking the literature over and over again. I wish that they could do a study that showed that you could have more eggs. But I'm just not seeing studies that say eat as many eggs as you want. So I'm just letting you know what the research is showing.
Well, is there a minimum amount of eggs?
No, I couldn't find it. I could not find it, literally.
Yeah, yeah.
I looked and I looked and I looked. So, look, I would say, I think you have to keep things in perspective. If, once a week you want to have eggs for breakfast, do I think you're going to get prostate cancer because you have one time a week or every other week an egg breakfast? Probably not. In the whole scheme of things, we've covered a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of things you're doing for yourself to protect it. I don't think 2 little eggs are going to be the culprit. You really want to keep that in perspective. We don't want to live in fear. We want to just be empowered by knowledge here today. Carbs, gotta be careful with carbs, but whole grains are the ones we want to have. And whether you have like potatoes or root vegetables, what are root vegetables aside from potatoes? Potatoes, sweet potatoes,
What's the one I
beets
like?
Beets.
yeah. But also, some of the ones that are the Caribbean ones, yuca.
You got, I was just saying it, I love that.
Yuca's delicious, you can buy that frozen.
I never seen it frozen, but it tastes just like potatoes.
Latin markets.
Yeah, Latin markets. Yeah, I love it.
What about non-lactose milk substitutes like almond milk and those kind of things?
Yeah, no, the non-dairy milk alternatives like almond milk are fine. Yeah. Now, for cleaner versus less clean would be a brand called Califia or Elmhurst, top shelf. So they have 3 ingredients: water, almonds, and salt. And the others, like Silk and Almond Breeze, they have a few more ingredients. They have gums and other things. They're not going to kill us, but they're just added ingredients. But in the whole scheme of things, why?
If you get it unsweetened, if you get the.
And unsweetened is absolutely best. We don't want to have added sugar.
Well, the
You know,
bananas and everything, those just are fluffy.
So, whole grains, veggies, healthy fats. We used to be like fat-free this, the spray butter, no, margarine, no. So, no. But I will say that if you're trying to stay away from dairy completely and you don't want to have butter, which I would understand, there's a vegan butter substitute called Miokos, Miykos, and it's pretty tasty, and it's all plant-based oils, tastes like butter. So that's an option for
You know
you.
what I use?
What's that?
I use a product called Veganase, and I get it at Publix,
Yes.
and you can get it like made with avocado,
Right.
grapeseed, or the original. I like the avocado.
Yes,
And
Veganase
it's
is
just
good.
like spreading butter on a piece of bread.
Yeah, it's a mayonnaise alternative, but you can kind of use it in place of butter. Thank you. Yeah, Veganase. So yeah.
How about Smart Balance olive oil spread?
Olive oil spread?
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
As in well, they make like Smart Balance is one brand. It's extra virgin olive oil.
Yeah, it's a little processed. It's not my fave. Not my fave.
But what was the processing that would make it worse than just eating
have-
olive oil?
Ingredients, and then I can tell you for sure why I don't. I've looked it up like about, I don't know, maybe a dozen times, just to refresh my memories why I don't like it. And I go, oh yeah, I don't like this stuff. It's just got,
Okay.
ingredients in there that's like, why?
Artificial flavors.
Chemical soup, yeah. Chemical soup.
Should we be testing our blood to see what toxins are in it? Is that something that we should be screening or?
No, I don't think so. You look great, you look healthy.
I feel healthy.
Yeah, so, yes, do not test for
You should
toxins.
see when he gets dressed up.
I know, he cleans up well.
It's few and far between.
Oh, no. All right, so, I thought I'd give you guys like some ideas to wrap up with here. So yeah, like a bowl of organic oatmeal, right? Put those flax seeds in there, or psyllium seeds like our friend suggested. How do you get the protein up? Protein powder, but collagen powder in particular, just mixes right in. 4 tablespoons gives you 20 grams. That's a nice pop. If you want to go for 30 grams, I won't argue with you. You can do a 30-gram protein collagen powder in your oatmeal. Top it with nuts and berries. Oh my gosh. Fiber, whole grain, protein, healthy fats, which is more fiber, and berries, antioxidants. That's a power meal right there. You can put cinnamon in it. You can do turmeric. Sometimes people like it savory. You can put a scoop of cocoa powder because there's chocoholics in this world that need to eat healthy things that have chocolate flavor. You can do that as well. So sorry. Oh, let me go back. Previous. Look, fish for breakfast. I know you're gonna think I'm crazy. Make extra salmon. Yeah.
I love fish for breakfast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
Protein,
But listen,
protein pack.
sauteed vegetables in olive oil is my base. And then, and leftover fish. Protein. And then some sliced tomatoes because we want to up the lycopene. And then, look, a piece of Ezekiel bread.
Yeah.
And then, maybe a few little chunks of cantaloupe. That's a really good breakfast. And then, of course, you can have like an organic peanut butter and jelly, but instead of jelly, do banana sandwich.
Right.
All right.
That's the Elvis breakfast.
Ah.
Banana, I think.
So good, so good. Oh my gosh. Just give me peanut butter all day long. Turkey sandwiches on whole wheat bread. There's whole wheat pitas out there, really yummy whole wheat pitas. And tuna. Here is a brand called Safe Catch. There's the low mercury tuna. Again, it is pricey because I don't know how they take the mercury out.
That's what I was wondering too. How do you get a low mercury
But-
tuna? You gotta have,
But they're like certified blah, blah, blah. So I do believe that it is true, but lower parts per million of mercury in safe catch tuna.
Wouldn't it be interesting if they actually had a parts per million rating on cans of tuna or something, or even samples or something like that, or catches of some sort? It would be interesting, you know, how they have ingredients on how much, you know.
One day they may.
Yeah, how much mercury
Generations
is in
in
a
the
given,
future.
is it in a given tuna sample?
They may have to label those things down the road. But you know, chicken on top of a nice big salad, but your salad doesn't have to be wimpy. I want it to be full of chopped up vegetables, you know, throw some, you know, grapes in there, or, you know what's really good is leftover sweet potato from the night before, chopped up, throw it into your salad for savory and fullness, so it's not just like a little salad and I'm hungry an hour later. No, you've gotten sweet potatoes in there. So I throw quinoa into mine, or brown rice, whatever grain or leftover potato I have, I chop it up and put it into the salad.
Do you have to wash your quinoa?
Yes, wash your quinoa,
We haven't been doing that.
rinse it, it's good. It just takes a little bit of the bitterness away.
What do you rinse it in though?
Just put it in the colander and let the water run over it.
Yeah, but I gotta get a small colander then, because they go through.
Yeah, the bigger holes, yeah, will definitely slip through.
You would think that boiling, when you're boiling the quinoa, you would think that maybe that would cook it off.
Oh, it's fine, but it's just that there's a bitter feature to the grain, and they say just for a better flavor, rinse your quinoa to get the little bitterness off. That's not bad. Look, if you just don't want to make lunch, make extra dinner, eat leftovers for lunch. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And a protein shake. Anybody here do protein shakes? Yeah. So a protein shake, but look, where's the veggies? So always have cut up veggies, guacamole, hummus, and you want to be able to have your shake. And I know you put spinach in there, but I know there's not that much spinach in your shake. Have some veggies on the side, have some sliced tomatoes, eat vegetables to get the fiber and all those phytonutrients. That's how we're going to detoxify. Not just the shake, we're going to fill up on a bunch of veggies. And you know, dinner options are nothing here. Classic stuff, baked or grilled chicken, you know, or fish or shrimp with either, you know, brown rice or, you know, baked potato, things like that. Oven fried potatoes, of course. Turkey burger with or without a Dave's Killer Bread bun, right? You know, if you want to keep it light, if you're trying to like keep your calories and your carbs light. Yeah, home fries. And, you know, chicken tacos, turkey tacos, fish tacos. Yeah, vegetables. Yeah, and, you know, good old spaghetti and meat sauce, we kind of have like our comfort foods, and we can do that with whole wheat pasta, we could do that with spaghetti pasta as well, to keep it like a lighter carb. Super yummy. Yeah, and I love roasting vegetables, so these are good, you know, dinner options. And, you know, I love to pair things to get protein, fiber, and fat. So again, veggies and hummus or guac, fruit and nut butter, like nothing better than good old banana or apples with peanut butter all over it. Fruit and nut, your trail mix, obviously, you know, wheat crackers and nut butter, the good chips, not the bad chips. And believe it or not, you want to stay away from chips that have the seed oils. This is like a small nuance, don't get too, you know, freaked out about that, but sunflower, safflower, and palm and soy, those are the lower quality oils, not as good for us. We want, there is a brand called Boulder Ranch, I think, and chips. They have at Publix, they have at Duttweiler's, and they have an avocado oil. 3 ingredients, potatoes, avocado oil, and salt. Pretty sweet. And then they make some other little flavors. They might even have a barbecue. Popcorn, you know, get, you know, organic popcorn, put it into one of those glass microwavable air poppers, you know, as opposed to the bags. The bags are not so good for us. But yeah, popcorn's really good. And a protein shake, that's always a good snack. But yeah, it has to do, and I know the people that are here are the preaching to the choir people. You already know, you've elevated food to the place of importance, and then you have to. Because if healthy food is just not gonna come to us. We have to shop for it, make it, but be smart and make lots of it, repurpose it, mix and match, and then that way you're not cooking all the time. Unless you don't like leftovers, and then I really feel sorry for you, because then you're gonna have to cook all the time. Fresh meal, fresh meal, fresh meal. No, not this girl. Lots of leftovers.
I love leftovers.
Yes.
I think they taste better the second
And it
time
tastes
around.
better next time, yeah.
The season.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll send everybody the PDF on this if you like, but these are just some good resources. I do love ewg.org, and then they have their free healthy living app where you can scan things for personal care, for everything, sunscreen, and then I love Fujicate. Fujicate is another good free app. When you're at the store or just in your pantry exploring what you've got, it gives you a letter grade, and you can kind of like, and then there's a drop down for all the categories if you really want to look at all the nitty gritty about the food. It tells you everything, little drop downs. So Fujicate gives you, A through D, but then it also gives you more information than you ever want to know. Yeah.
So are you sending them out on our list there?
Yeah, I'll send it, I'll make sure.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes, so, not that I'm political or love John F. Kennedy one way or the other, but he did say this, and I like that the time to fix a roof is when the sun is shining. So the time to really work on ourselves is when we're feeling good, and be preventative. Yeah. And I think you've already asked your questions, but
Yeah, well,
Yeah, one question.
that comment by John F. Kennedy is the fact that even though the sun might not be shining, it's still never too late.
you can
to
still get out there
fight these battles at any time.
at any time. And especially if you're in the middle of fighting the battle, that is one of the most crucial times to nourish your body.
Yeah,
Nourish your body.
It's a never-ending thing.
Oh, it is. And then when there's an additional layer of medical concern, it does take it to the next level. But you guys, you can do this. You don't have to be perfect. Perfection's never the goal, nor does it require you to be perfect. So as long as you do as many of the things that you can do within your reach, you will be doing your body a world of good.
well stated. You're the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you for asking me.
Yes, my gosh.
You're good. Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, do take one of Nora's cards and
Send a couple down.
I'll make sure when I send.
You have a question on Zoom, I think. There's the gentleman.
Yeah,
Yeah. I have one question. I joined the meeting late. I don't know whether you talked about chocolate, not with reference to prostate cancer, but other cardiovascular benefits. On Googling chocolate, I saw a lot of benefits, antioxidant, nitric oxide production, and so forth. I would like to know whether it is all good or reliable, or does the dark chocolate do all those kind of good things?
The question is about, does dark chocolate have health benefits?
Yeah.
Thank you for that question. It does. Honestly, the only way that, dark chocolate would be harmful is if you're allergic to it somehow, right? That would be unfortunate. But I can think of no scenario, nor have I read anything where dark chocolate is harmful. Now, if you had like a series of stomach ulcers, you wouldn't want to eat dark chocolate, right then, get rid of your ulcers, and then you can have dark chocolate. But dark chocolate actually has these signaling properties that tell our happy brain chemicals to be happy. So seriously, they have studied that. So when we eat chocolate, if you're imagining it, that I just like feel so much better after I eat chocolate, you're not imagining it. It is a biochemical reaction that there are signaling properties in dark chocolate that boost our serotonin and our dopamine.
Yeah.
So yay for dark chocolate.
Yeah, I love
Does it lower the blood?
It does not lower blood pressure or anything like that. It's lower in sugar, right? As long as it's 72% or more, it's reasonably low in sugar. So, but it doesn't have any therapeutic value where it's like, I'm gonna eat dark chocolate so I can lower or improve my XYZ. I have not seen any of those studies. But it has antioxidants in it that contribute to the whole pool of antioxidants. So it's good to have a little chocolate every day because you're contributing to your antioxidant intake. Yeah.
And dark chocolate's better than lighter chocolate.
Yeah, the milk chocolate, the lighter chocolate is just, it has sugar in it, frankly. So now we're introducing another component.
Be safe, baby.
What's you gonna say?
No,
Thank you
so
for
much,
coming.
appreciate it.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, everybody,
Thank you.
for participating today. It's been great.
Thank
And
you.
I'll make sure I get the video.
Bye, guys.
We got the entire
Thank
video
you.
meeting on tape, so
Wow, very good.
we'll send it out. You can pick and
Nice.
choose
Fast forward.
from everything.
Very good. Thanks for your questions and for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so
Oh,
much.
yeah, thank you so much for coming and
Great.
for, adding all your
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Thank you.
It's great.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Yeah.
Good report.
Take care.
I will.
Yeah.
I'll see you
We're
You
soon.
gonna get
know
this
what
out.
I
Yes.
did recently? I saw on TV for belly fat,
Yeah.
so and Dr. Phil is part of this too.
Okay,
It's all over the internet, and they say rice water
okay.
and lemon. Well, you let the rice sit in water, a cup of water, 4 ounces water.
After you take the arsenic out.
Except, but no, listen, I stopped, it was not making me feel good at
Oh,
all.
is that right?
It
Yeah?
wasn't making me feel good at all, I started getting constipated
Right.
and bloated, and I was like, and then finally I made a connection, I was like, they don't know what they're talking about.
Aw.
You should see it all over the internet though.
Yeah.
That's what they say, rice water, lemon juice, and every morning on an empty stomach.
Sure.
So I did it for like 2
constipation.
weeks. They say you're supposed to help your metabolism
Right.
and help your digestion
Oh, my
and lose
goodness.
belly fat and,
And you didn't feel
Don't
so
do it.
good. You did not feel so good, yeah.
no, I didn't realize that. And then I
Yeah.
looked at another site, says that could make you constipated.
Oh,
I'm like,
my.
what is this about?
Well, you know what? It was short-lived and you didn't hurt yourself.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
done with that. You didn't have to buy anything special.